Good morning, Ultimate Hustlers and Digital Empire Builders. It is that time for another episode of the Cortez Hustle Show. And today we have a very special guest. Sorry for the late delay. I am on the road, so I'm actually in my hometown today, man. And super excited to be coming to you today with this very, very special edition. We're talking love and hustle. How do you build an empire with your spouse? It's about to go down, man. So I need y'all to hustle on in here. Click that like button, click that share button. Also, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand, and let's get ready to kick it this morning, y'all.
But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, a couple quick announcements. Thank you guys for tuning in. I am your host, Cortez Hustle, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, and I got a special guest, two, on the line with me today. We're going to get to Mwale and Chantel Henry. And talk a lot about how they are building an empire, not only for themselves, but they're also helping a lot of other people build their empires as well. In this digital age, this online money, getting to the bag, using the internet and social media is a very real thing. And we'll be talking a lot about that today. But I want you to know that there are two Facebook groups that you guys can join if you want to really take your business or your brand to the next level. If you are a solopreneur, if you are a coach, consultant, influencer, check out Digital Empire Builders Worldwide. That is the group for you. We do live trainings in that group. We're all about systems, automation, using the internet in the best and most efficient capacity that you can. Take your business to the next level. But then if you are a local brick and mortar business, particularly a service-based business, then we have Local Biz Marketing Mastermind for you, where we're teaching those who may not be as familiar with the internet and how to use social media to grow a business. You guys get to learn how to do that, especially in your local market, using things like Google My Business and all of the local marketing tools that will help more people find you on the internet, increase your foot traffic to your local store. So Local Biz Marketing Mastermind, that one is for you. Don't forget, Monetize My Life Academy price increases this coming, I think that's next Monday or Tuesday. At the end of the month, price is going up. So if you want to learn how to turn your gifts, talents, special abilities into income, then Monetize My Life Academy provides the tools, templates, training, resources, and support to help you do just that. And I think that is it for my announcement. So let me bring on my guests. Let me see if they are hanging out with me. Boom, we're going to add them to the stream. And yes, there they are. Good morning. So we have Mwale and Chantel Henry of the Bestsellers Academy in the building. How you guys doing this morning?
We're good, Cortez. How are you?
I'm doing extremely well. I am so sorry about the delay. I am actually in my hometown of Tupelo, Mississippi for this episode, and I had some connectivity issues this morning. So I was like, man, what the heck is going on? So I'm actually streaming and broadcasting from my phone, which is super cool that I can run my entire show still from my phone. So
that's all right, Cortez. We always know the bigger you play, the bigger the breakdown. So
that's right.
You're in motion. So we're all for
awesome. Good. Glad to have you guys. So before we get started, man, the way we start every episode of the Cortez Hustle Show, before we get into who you are, your backgrounds, and all of that stuff, we start every show with a quote of the day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a quote that kicked me in the butt this morning. Usually these quotes come from me listening to my motivation in the morning. But if you have your own quote that you would like to share, you certainly can do that, or you can chime in on this one. So today's quote says this: procrastination and self-sabotage is nothing more than a reaction to a thought, I'm not enough. And that is from Marissa Peer. So do you have a favorite quote that you like to share, or would you like to chime in on that one?
Yeah, first of all, that was a powerful quote, because how many of us struggle every single day with procrastination, right?
Mm-hmm.
Putting things off that we know we should do now, but for some reason that inner chatter in our head tells us, oh, well, it's not a priority, or I have other things that are more important. When in reality, those are the sexy excuses that we give, right?
Yeah.
But the authentic excuses is that, like the quote said, we feel like we're not good enough to make that next move, or worthy enough for that, to do that thing so that the success can happen, right? Yeah. So that is very striking to me, because I've struggled for so long with elements of procrastination throughout my entrepreneurship journey. So I want to let you know that if you struggle with that too, you are not alone, but most importantly, you are absolutely worthy of getting to the success that waits on the other side of your procrastination.
I love that. I often say procrastination is, procrastination and perfectionism is just a bougie way of making that excuse, right? That you don't want to do it. And I never thought about it as coming from a place of not worthiness, or not feeling that I'm enough, or I don't deserve it, right? But that's a very real thing. So many people feel like, yeah, I got this great idea, but I'm not the one to pull it off. Well, why do you think the idea came to you? Why do you think it's tugging on your heart, your spirit so hard? Why do you think you can't shake it and get away from it? Because chances are you're the only person that can do it. So that is, ladies and gentlemen, the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. So, fellas and lady, I ask everybody that comes on the Cortez Hustle Show this very question, and you guys don't get to escape it. So I'm going to ask it to you, and the question is this: who the heck are you?
Well, as you said before, my name is Mwale.
And I'm Chantel.
And I'm based originally from Trinidad. So if you hear the Caribbean accent, that's where I'm from, place of sun, sand, and sea. And it's always been a journey of mine to really be able to unpack the purpose of entrepreneurship, which is solving a problem, creating a desire, and promoting a solution. So that's always been my clarion call, coming from a developing country where Monday could fall on a Sunday, everyone's kicked back, relaxed, but always had that in my heart as a young entrepreneur. Always wanted to make change. So I identify with you, Cortez. Raking up yards, that was my thing as a young man growing up in school, just looking for how could I make change and be that change. So that's why I'm always about being the change and making that change.
Absolutely. And we came together because we share that same desire that, living this life as great as it can be and as sorrowful as it can be, it's not about us, right? It's about us not being successful, but being significant. And we have achieved that level of significance, not because we're, great and famous, but because we have intentionally lived our lives, Cortez, with understanding that in the hustle, there must be a level of grace. And grace allows you to move beyond just the day-to-day, what do I need for my life? What do I need for my family? And say that the extent of my family's success is dependent upon how I help other people. And so we've come together as founders of the Bestsellers Academy to do just that, to make sure that every great story gets told and that you can truly be the authority in your field once you package the genius that's in your head and bring it on the outside to help others.
I love that. I had a gentleman say something to me, and not to me directly, but on a group training that I wasn't even supposed to be on. I somehow snuck into this virtual training. I don't even know how I found myself there, because it was for women only, right? I don't know if you guys are familiar with Trevor Ott, founder of the Black CEO. But he said something that really impacted my life. He said, there's more in what you know than what you do. And that really stuck with me because a lot of times we are driven to doing what we know and just doing things with our hands and our physical presence and providing services. But we don't typically think about the intellectual capital, the things that we know, and how I could build a website, but there's only so many websites I can build in a day. But if I can put that information into a medium where I can distribute it amongst millions, then there's no limit to how many people I can help build a website. It sounds like that's what you guys are doing, helping people pull their stories out and really let the world know and how to take that intellectual capital and turn it into real resources for them. So that is amazing. So talk me through, normally what I do is I go back to youth, right? So what was life like middle school, high school, early university or college days for you both?
Yeah, well, for me, as I mentioned earlier, growing up in the Caribbean, school was just equivalent to having fun, right? It wasn't like in developed countries where you go to school, get great grades to get a job. It was always about how do you explore, how do you really just discover not just yourself but others, friends, your talents. So I was always on the soccer field, we call it football, just really exploring. But there was a time for me when I realized that life wasn't just about fun. How could you make a change? How could you make an impact? And that moment for me was looking at my mother growing up. I grew up in a home of 2 brothers, 2 sisters. I'm the last in the family. And I always used to see my mother and my dad modeled hard work. And in seeing them getting up early in the morning, she was a domestic worker. My father, he worked in the oil field industries, so as a lab technician. But just seeing them work so hard, I always ask myself the question, does the hustle always have to be hard? And even as he was promoted through the company, he got more money, and my mom grew her catering business. There was something I realized in my parents, even as money increased, you didn't see that joy. You didn't see, it was always equivalent to me in my mind as a little boy, that money was always equivalent to things being hard. So the hustle always had to be hard. So for me as a young man, always desiring that type of freedom, I had to unlearn that the hustle doesn't have to be hard, because sometimes we're married to the hardship. As you just quoted it, right? We have the genius, we have the competency, and it doesn't have to be hard. Now, there's a struggle, but it doesn't have to be hard. It's about applying and finding innovative ways of unlocking potential and allowing that, as we know, automation, leverage allows your hustle to be enjoyable. And that was my journey of looking at my parents and unlearning the psychology of money and understanding that money doesn't have to be hard. Because truth be told, if money had feelings and emotions, right, we all would be rich, right?
Right.
Right? No matter how much we cry for it, no matter how much we desire it, but money responds to systems. All right, money responds to, and success is a system. And that was my entrepreneurial journey, going to university and understanding that money responds to systems. So at the Bestsellers Academy, we're all about exposing people to systems of success. It doesn't matter if you're from the Caribbean, you're Black, you're Hispanic, you're white. We need to put away that story, the cycle of defeat, and understand that money responds to systems. So
I love that. And Chantel, I'm certainly going to let you answer that. But you said something that really strikes a nerve with me, because you said school in the Caribbean was more about exploring. It was more about less structure and more about, hey man, I think there's an understanding in other countries that pliable mind of a child should not be so quickly put into a box. And I mean that physically, like the schools here in the States they are boxes, right? So they literally take the child with that wild imagination, inquisitive and wanting to know everything, and they put that child in a physical box, in a metaphorical and literal box, and start shutting down that creative genius. And it's interesting to hear people from other backgrounds how school is done in those other areas. So I just thought that was pretty interesting that you said that, because I think that's how school absolutely should be. Like there shouldn't be a box for a person until they get to that place where, you know what, I have a strong interest in this. Okay, now let's add some structure to your learning of that thing. But interesting you said that. So Chantel, who the heck are you, lady? What was you like middle school, high school, kind of going into your college age?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Baltimore. Shout out to all my Be More folks listening.
Be more.
Stand up. So my childhood was typical. I grew up in the hood, and my mother had one goal in mind. She's like, the same 5 children that I brought into the hood, by God's grace, I'm going to bring those same children out. But it took her hustle and her faith to make it happen. And unfortunately, it did not happen the way that she had planned. I lost my oldest brother to incarceration. He was sentenced to what should have been a 2-month jail stint in jail, but it ended up being a death sentence because what happened, Cortez, is he had an asthma attack and he was stationed in one of the most racist prisons inside of Maryland, and they denied him. They didn't give him his medicine that could have saved his life. And watching that at 6 years old, it was incredibly traumatic. I didn't know how to handle it. I saw my mother cry some days, and I saw her go out and do her job the next day. So just seeing that dichotomy between, the grace that God gives you to survive a traumatic situation, but the grind that still has to take place, I always wrestle with that, wondering if my life would have that same type of variance of success and failure. And it wasn't until I became an adult that I realized that the greatest lesson that I could have taken away from that was not that life has to be hard, but you can choose your battles. You see, my mother taught me that in the midst of her most tragic, traumatic situation, she chose the battle of victory. She's like, yes, I didn't meet my goal of having all my children out the hood, but yes, I will still fight to be a victor and not a victim. Because her fight was demonstrated in that she sued the state of Maryland and won for the crime they committed. And she took that fight to help other political prisoners get the justice that they deserved. And so in my formative years, I learned 2 things: that it's definitely not about you, but it's also about what you can do for others. And that's why we have this opportunity to just be servant leaders in that we're advocates, right? Some people call us book publishers. Some people call us like their brain trust, helping with their IP. But truly, we're advocates. We want to make sure that even those who have suppressed their voices get heard, even though life has probably told you to muffle your message, that it's time for you to unmute it. And that's what we're here to be, that gateway that helps you do that. Wow.
So sorry for your loss. And at such a pivotal age, that 5, 6, 7-year-old age where you're so impressionable and things tend to, and at that age, leave some very lasting scars or memories or motivators, right, for how we turn out to be in our adult lives. And I think as parents, we always have to remember that no matter what the challenge we're facing, we're always modeling, right? And I don't think your mom lost sight of that. It's like, okay, this is hard, but let me show my babies how to deal with hard, right? This is painful, but let me show my children how to handle pain. I'm angry, but let me show my children how to channel anger. And more of us have to have that emotional intelligence, especially those of us who are raising children or have children in close proximity that are watching, because as they say, kids pick up more than they're ever taught. And it sounds like you picked up some great gems from mom by watching her demonstrate what it's like to deal with difficulty and, how to overcome. So we are at my favorite segment of the show, you two, and it's a segment that I call 1 Minute Motivation. Every episode of the Cortez Hustle Show, we do something called 1 Minute Motivation, where I play a short motivational clip, usually 60 to 90 seconds or so, and I actually give your takeaways, and I'm gonna give my takeaways as well. So let's get into some 1 minute motivation right here, ladies and gentlemen, on the Cortez Hustle Show with Mwale and Chantel. This is 1 Minute Motivation for today.
You are the determining factor. The people that make it in this world look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. It's you that you must take personal responsibility to make it happen. It's hard. No, easy is not an option. However, ladies and gentlemen, what you will discover is that it's worth it. Write down 5 reasons of why it is worth it for you to become a diamond, to experience that level of achievement. What is it that will give you the drive? What is it that will ignite the courage in you to get up and come back again and again and again? How is it that you would be able, what reasons that can tap in to that deep down feeling that goes to your gut, that no matter how many times you get knocked down, that you're coming back?
Listen to me, this is how you do it first, over 6-7 years ago, with no money, no human resources, no building, no funding, no support. The first thing we did was we dreamed, we wrote the dream down, we rehearsed the dream, we looked at the dream, we talked about the dream, we slept with the dream, we woke up to the dream, we wore the dream, and now boom, it's our reality. And for some of you, you stop dreaming. You dream for a week and you stop because things around you don't look good. You dream for a month and when you get hit in the mouth, you quit and you give up. You dream for a while and when people tell you crazy, and when people tell you stupid, and when people tell you can never get done, you stop dreaming and you go back to knowledge. And I dare you to use your imagination. I dare you when you're broke to use your imagination. I dare you when you're rich to use your imagination. I dare you under every single circumstance. Keep dreaming. Keep looking at your dream. Keep focusing on your dream. Keep going after the dream because that's where true success is.
Ooh-wee. So, ladies and gentlemen, the reason I love this so much, especially when I have a guest on, because we all just listen to the same clip. But based on where you are in life, chances are you heard something very different. So what did you hear, my friend?
You know, the last part where he talks about keep dreaming, keep dreaming. To our prior conversation, we've lost our innocence growing up as children, right? And life does a real number on us where we begin to put ourselves in those boxes of impossibility, be it our age, be it our income, be it what's in our bank account. But as a child, I remember just drawing in those sands, leaping from one hill to the next, always thinking that it's possible and it's not impossible. So for me, it's challenging me to always keep that childlike spirit of possibility. And that application allows you to realize that wherever you are in a journey, it's your career. Your career is what you're paid to do, but your calling is what you're made to do. So if you're in a job right now, or you are working in your business and I'm not on your business, I just want you to know that there's a different there's a different experience of knowing the difference of really having that it's possible. It's definitely possible. So that challenge to me, I say to everyone, keep that childlike spirit, keep that dream alive. It's possible.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, because we live in a world of possibility, but sometimes because of our situation, we can feel stifled or like we can't get up after we've been knocked down. But the truth is, you have so much strength on the inside of you that it takes sometimes the trauma in order for you to get it out, right? To get that power, to unleash it. And just like, I believe it was Les Brown speaking in the quote, he's like, get back up, like continue to get back up. We have to come to the state of realization, especially for my millennial listeners out there, understanding that you will face tough times. But just like in the gym, if you don't meet yourself with resistance by lifting those weights, you can never truly develop the muscles that are just underneath the surface of your skin, right? Yeah. And so we have to remember that because I believe that that's going to help strengthen our mental, our emotional, and our spiritual state as we go on this journey. There's one of my favorite proverbs. It says that a righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up. So my question to you is, are you going to continue to get back up even when life knocks you on your butt?
Yeah, man. I love that you said that. And one of my favorite as a marketer, I see TV in all forms of media different. And one of my favorite commercials of all time is the old P90X commercials, right? It's insane workout commercials. And they literally were trying to discourage the wrong people from buying their product. Hey, this is going to be hard as hell for you to complete. And they really showed it, which was the reverse of what everybody normally does. Oh, you can get six-pack abs if you just lay down and go to sleep and wake up, you're going to get 6 packs abs. They said, no, it's going to be hard. So don't buy this product if you are a wuss, right? And I love that marketing and that mentality. And I think we often don't realize that the challenges that a lot of us face are brought on by ourselves based on our ambitions, right? I tell God I want to build a multi-billion-dollar international media conglomerate starting with this podcast. He says, okay, but the person that you are today, Cortez, can't do it. And the only way to get you to the person that can do it, Cortez, is I got to take you through some stuff.
That's right.
And we fight the stuff. And it's the stuff that is designed to make us who we need to be to have success. So it's challenging, but you got to embrace the challenge, right? Embrace the hard, embrace the difficulty. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by the Bestsellers Academy.com. Make sure you guys check out Mwale and Chantel. All of you guys have a story, and that story has value, not just monetary value, but intrinsic value. It has the value that could be the match that sparks the movement within somebody else to change the world. So let that story out. Don't be afraid to unleash it. So how'd you guys meet, man? Be More, Trinidad? What? How did those two parts of the world come together? What was it like?
Yeah, well, it was based on my entrepreneurial journey. You know, my background. The youngest consultant in Franklin Covey Institute in Latin America and in Caribbean. Really had a long state experience in the state sector. Was the assistant to the Prime Minister, met Obama, the Queen of England, you name it. I did in my professional career, but I always had a desire to be an entrepreneur, really build my own business. So that journey started off just over 11 years ago, meeting Chantel. But what happened is I actually went to an entrepreneurship conference in Las Vegas. And Cortez, it was my first time in America. So my first US experience was Vegas.
Wait a minute. How are you still not in Vegas as your first time in America, right? That's one of those kind of cities where we kind of want to break you in slow before you see Vegas. Let's let you see some other things before you see Vegas, right?
Well, I saw something even better because, you know, they always say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. This time it didn't stay in Vegas. She's here with me on this journey. So it was an entrepreneurial conference, over 20,000 people. It was an international conference. So people from all over the world were lined up, and I was approaching the line, and as I was approaching the line from a distance, I saw my friend, because we were all grouped by nation, so people have their colors, their flags, so it's easy to identify in this huge crowd. And from a distance, I'm walking, and I'm seeing my friend, my partner. He's talking to this girl. Now, Chantel, she's about 5'2",
5'1", yeah.
5'1". So I'm like, who's this girl he's talking to from a distance? And you know, the alpha male in me, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna step up and find out a little bit more. So I'm approaching, and he turns to me. It's like, hey, I just met this person here. And she turns around, and he's like, hey, this is Mwale. And Cortez, as God as my witness, when I looked at this beautiful girl, I was like, man.
But the funny thing, he might have said that to himself. But the funny thing is when I saw him, I was like, oh my God, I found my husband. Because what he did not know is that I was at a time in my life where I had run my own PR firm, had a nice apartment in Buckhead, Atlanta. I was doing my thing more or less. Some of my clients included NFL and NBA players. I was going out on dates with a guy who was a major player for the Falcons, had just signed a $17 million contract with Visa, like what people call living the life. But on the outside,
and he fumbled the ball. I like that. So that's all.
But on the outside, I looked like a public success. But the truth is, I felt like a private failure because I would go home at night after leaving the networking events, the charity dinners, and I would literally cry. And so there was this one night, in the shower, and I just broke down. I was like, God, like, send me somebody. Like, I'm tired of choosing wrong, and I think I need to choose your way. And at that time, I was not sold out to Christ. I had not recommitted myself to that journey, but the words just filled my mouth. And so, long story made less long, God did speak to me that day, and I just committed to walking a little differently. So I cut off some folks, and about 3 months later, I was invited to attend this conference, and my mentor at the time was like, hey, Chantel, you never want to go into an event without having expectations. And I looked at him and I was like, I heard all that stuff before. Well, I expect to meet my husband. And he looked at me, he said, well, you know what? That may actually happen. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Because at that time, I'm like, it ain't happened yet. It ain't going to happen, but we'll see.
Right.
Fast forward 2 weeks later, go on the plane, and I'm writing down. Usually when I'm on the plane, I'm like eyes closed, mouth open, snoring. I don't care who's around. This is before mask, so I'm probably offended a lot of people.
So you know how I feel whenever we travel, right? I'm like, shit.
But this particular flight, I could not go to sleep. It's like a 5-hour flight from Atlanta to Vegas. And I just heard God's voice again. And he's like, Chantel, if there is something that you want in a man, I want you to write down everything that you want in a husband. I wrote it down. Less than 48 hours later, I was in that same line, and that's where I met Mwale.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think from that story, the power of intention is very real. And I don't think enough of us wake up every day with intention, with purpose. Like, I am going to, today is my day. My wife and I have this saying, and as she gets up and starts her day, and I start my day, and I'm just like, babe, you ready to slay today? Because you have to be intentionally aware of your own power to affect the things around you. I don't think enough of us are. Enough of us, so many of us will just let the day come, and we say stuff like it is what it is, as if we have no control whatsoever. So it's funny to hear you talk about making that connection with God, and then setting an expectation to, go after what you want, and you saw it, and boom, here you guys are. How many years later?
10 years later.
Yeah.
10 years later. Amazing.
Yeah, and Cortez, even as I listened to her story and journey on her side, for me, it was really important to really follow your instincts, because many times as entrepreneurs, we don't trust that gut feeling. Some people call it the intelligent design. I call it the still small voice, because for me, going to America wasn't part of my original plan. I was actually heading to Canada for a PhD research project. And one of my friends was just insisting, hey, let's go to this conference. I'm like, man, I'm nickel and diming. I'm checking every cent. I'm like, why do I fly into America just for 3 days? And then I'll be in Canada for a year. And that still small voice say, go. Take that leap. And little did I know what was meeting me on the other side. Not just a wife, not just a friend, not just a partner, but someone who I could do life with, do business with. Iron sharpens iron. So I really want to encourage a lot of business owners out here who are on the hustle, on the grind. You're always thinking everything has to be perfect before I launch. But we've learned one of the key things in business. Sometimes you're walking and shooting.
You gotta fly the plane and build it at the same time.
At the same time, because sometimes a lot of great opportunities come from radical action, right? Not radical planning, sometimes radical action. And we've seen it. We've seen a lot of service providers. We've sat in audiences. We've sat in trainings where you're sitting back here like, man, I could deliver this at another level. But someone had the courage to get up, to open up their mouths, to do it. And while you are there in your lab trying to perfect it and crossing the T's and dotting the I's, but they're hitting the ground running and making an impact. So for me, our relationship is, it's synonymous of that, of being able to just listen to that still small voice. So I want to encourage all business owners out here. You've been planning, it's time to get it done.
Yeah, and my challenge for me, 2023, I heard God speaking to me and saying, Cortez, see people. Because as a marketer, again, I see the world through a different lens. And a lot of times I see transactions and I don't see people. And I think a lot of us as entrepreneurs are that way. And what would have happened if you were seeking transactions and you didn't see people, right? What would have happened if you saw Chantel like, oh, this is just another person at a conference and not really open up to see her as an individual? So I think we have to make sure that we are really intentional about the people that are in our spaces, because it doesn't happen by accident, right? There's energies that draw us to and repel us away from one another for a reason. And I know for me, I have to get better at that. So this is a wonderful story. But as we transition into business, I want you guys to first encourage the spouse and the mate, because it's not always easy, or it's not always common for both spouses to be the entrepreneur on the journey. In my case, I'm the entrepreneur and my wife is not. And I thank God that I have the dopest, the most amazing, the most supportive, like literally she's the reason that I feel like I can literally take over the world every day, right? Everybody don't have that though on their entrepreneurial journey. So can you encourage the person who is an entrepreneur and may not have that full loving support of the spouse, and also talk to that spouse who may not get it and they're not as supportive as they can be, right? How can we help bring some harmony in that house as the entrepreneur in the house is trying to build that empire?
Yeah, well, I believe that is such an important lesson, because there are some of folks who are watching who may not be married or who are looking to get married. And some are like, I'm not doing married altogether because I'm already successful and I don't want anybody to interrupt my flow. But no matter where you are on that spectrum, the truth is that we are designed to partner. All right. God created us so that we could, he said that man can't do this alone. I got to create a wife for him. And so our goal is never to try to be solopreneurs or be, the single class hero, but to really understand the power of partnership. Because the truth is, Cortez, success is not a matter of time. It's a matter of team. So my question to you is, who is on your team? If it happens to be your spouse, that's even better. But if it's not, find someone that you can work together in harmony with, that honors your relationship, that wants to see you successful in that area and not trying to take you away, right? And because I know for us in our journey, we have come together because both of us were originally entrepreneurs, but we've stayed together because of that higher vision and purpose, right? Understanding another one of my favorite scriptures, it says, how can two walk together unless they agree? So whenever we have these situations where we're not in agreement or we have differences of opinions, we always ask ourselves, are we walking together? Because that gets us back to center. That lets us know, okay, if we're going to walk, if we're going to actually physically walk, then we must find a way to come on the same page. And sometimes marriages break up. You know that finances is one of the major reasons why divorces occur. It's because two people have decided to do something differently, separate and apart. And so my encouragement to anyone is find a good partner and always come back to agreement so that you can walk and then run in the direction of your dreams.
And my pitch, just to add to that, Chantel, for those who may not be in the entrepreneurial grind, right? You may have the career, what we call it, stable, it's settled, and sometimes you're probably telling your partner, why you don't get a job? Why are you on this grind? Like all this uncertainty. And, I mentioned it earlier, it's something that we've learned to build, because as I shared, Chantel's been on this hustler journey a little longer than me. I always worked in a corporate space or in the state sector. So one of the things that I had to grow into and to learn and to honor, even when I said to her, hey, let's take up some consult, she's like, I like the grind. I like to define my time, and that kind of thing is me understanding that truly a career is what you're paid to do, right? Whatever value that you could bring, but a calling is what you're made to do. So for those who are in a partnership where, you know, your spouse, your husband, your wife is an entrepreneur, just know that their response is to a calling. It's to something greater. And to place them in a box is like sucking life out of them. So the greatest space that you could provide is support. All right. Just write it down, put it on your mirror, you know, put it as a reminder. I support you, you know, and that allows you to allow them to live, because the greatest gift you can give to a partnership is life, right? Allowing them to live. So that would be my advice to those who might be at a different place in terms of how you understand generating income and impact. Is support. Just provide that support.
Yeah, that's so rich, and it's so powerful, and I pray often for the people who do not have that, because who knows what type of transformation the world is missing because this person didn't have the support to bring forth that thing that they're supposed to give birth to. So let's talk about the journey into how you guys started to help people develop their story, and all of the businesses that one could be in. What led you down the path to creating this Bestsellers Academy?
Yeah, for us, it was really clear that the market had a huge gap, and that gap was authenticity. You know, you talked about the exercise program is PX90. You talked about it earlier. And you said from a marketing perspective, they constantly said, hey, if you're worse, this is not for you. You know, if you're going to give up, it's not for you. Because truth be told, in all of us, we like the hero, someone who perseveres and pursues. But we like the hero inside of us. Hey, I think I could get this done. But we admire the hero in others, where we see them persevere and pursue and overcome. So we've seen that in business. We've seen that in the journey of many people. They look at others in terms of their success, but they see the end result of their success, not the process, not the grind, not the breakdown, but they only see the breakthrough. So for us, we realized in the marketplace, there was an absence of an authentic journey. People just saw the outcome, like, I'm a millionaire. Okay, it didn't just happen like that. You know, I'm driving a Rolls Royce. It didn't just happen like that. So we saw the challenge of helping people discover their journey, discover and uncover their hell before the hallelujah. Because in the corporate setting is all about strength. You teach from the place of strength. You teach from the place of perfection. You teach from the place of knowing everything. But because the market is so saturated with information that we are so distracted of who people really are, the true person and their journey. And there's a craving for authentic relationships. So the Bestsellers Academy is capturing that journey, the journey or the moment, the story. What brought you to this place? What were the breakdowns? You know, what did you have to crawl through, cry through, pray through, walk through before you were able to run? And as you tell that journey, you attract your ideal client because people can see themselves in you. It's a crack in the door. And that authentic conversation is what we call the Pied Piper sound. Only those who are called to work with you hear that in your conversation. So you attract your ideal client, and your journey as an entrepreneur is now where you are working with those who you're called to serve, you're called to lift up, you're called, you know, to support. So the journey of the Bestsellers Academy is supporting coaches, speakers, and authors who want to be able to capture their intellectual property, the things that they'll be able to do, but marry their personal journey in it, so that when people see them, they're like, I like you. I want to work with you.
That's right.
I see myself in you. And that's the it factor, what we call a USP in the marketplace.
Man, I love that, and you're so right. So when we talk about your brand is nothing more than your message, your promise, right? What are you going to do? And I don't think enough people realize that, to your point, there is so much saturation of information, and people aren't paying for information these days. They're paying for transformation, right? But where does transformation come from? It comes from perspective and presence, right? People want to know your POV, right? How does someone born in Tupelo, Mississippi, raised in St. Louis, see marketing, right? That's my personal perspective, and they cannot get that anywhere else on the planet, right? And I think people miss that, and that's where competition has people all messed up, right? So talk about the difficulties you guys sometimes face, because I'm sure you do, when you're sitting down with a client and you're trying to help them understand. And what we tend to do automatically, or what we tend to do with ease, we don't see the value in. You guys have to bring that out in people, like, no, that part right there that you insist on leaving out, that's the gem right there, right? How difficult is it to sell people sometimes on their own story?
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of it. We work with individuals who already understand that they have something to contribute in the world. If they are not at that place, then we say, hey, come to our personal development classes to understand your power, so we can get you to the place of knowing that you are valuable, right? Because once you understand that you're valuable, you are like, I am not going to die with this gold mine on the inside of me, right? Yeah. We've heard it, right? Some of the wealthiest place in the world is the graveyard, is a cemetery, because there are so many people who were buried with their greatest gift on the inside of them. And so once we reach the point where you understand your power, then we can help you to uncover it, right? And that process is all about sitting down and understanding that what you've done in your 20 plus year as a corporate exec, that is a packageable property, intellectual property that you can use to then turn into profit for your own business, or to get a higher ranking position in corporate, right? It's not all about entrepreneurship. And then once we help you to uncover what you've already done, because sometimes we think, oh, we got to do something new in order for it to be the best thing ever. Sometimes we discount what we've already done, and we're putting aside that because we're so used to it that we go into something else that we don't succeed. So let's deal with what you've already mastered, and then we help you to leverage it, right? And leveraging it is always about, how do you develop an income ecosystem around your best ideas, so that those individuals who you are uniquely called to serve, who can only respond to your voice, those people hear you, they see you, and they want to do business with you.
Yeah, I have that problem, Chantel, and I have to remind myself of Robert Kiyosaki, right? Robert Kiyosaki, for the last 30 plus years, has been selling the same information, repackaged, rebranded, licensed to this entity, licensed to that entity, but it's the same thing, man. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That same story permeates throughout everything in the Rich Dad brand, and it attracts the people to him that he is meant to serve. So,
Cortez, the main issue that underpins that core example you just shared is that we often mistake newness with value. We often equate value with newness. If it's new, then it has to be valuable. But consistency is a time-tested project. And as Chantel talked about, just our process, that's a mindset shift. That's why our first couple sessions, really dealing with that internal chatter, that you tell yourself it has to be something new in order for it to be valuable. But because you've been around it so long, we've undervalued that cellular competency that we have. That you can do it naturally. You could do it in your sleep. You could do it, walking. You could do it, from memory. And we take that for granted, but little do we know that's our greatest contribution. It's our greatest contribution. So it is true. It is admittedly a big struggle, but it's our greatest opportunity where we see people have that breakthrough. I'll give you two quick examples. We had a client. She works on Wall Street as an investment banker. She's managed over $5 billion in transactions. And on the inside, she always said to us, she wanted to make a more meaningful contribution. She understood that there's a difference between success and significance. So we took her through a mindset process of seeing what she contributes and how she could bring her financial literacy from Wall Street to Main Street. And being an African American woman in an industry that's predominantly white and male, she required us to take her from what she's so close to and accustomed to and see the income potential of turning her genius into a book, into training programs, into corporate training, into courses. And that has been a riveting experience for her. She always says to us, I needed someone to pull me back from my own self, right? Yeah. And what we call discount dialect. Oh, I just do that little thing. I just have this little business. Oh, I give people financial advice. I'm like, don't discount that. So I want to tell people, remove that discount dialect. What you have to bring to the marketplace is unique, it's valuable, it's needed, and your impact will always bring that desired income.
I love it. I love it. Well, we've got to hit our second favorite segment. I know we started late, so we're a little bit behind, but I can't let you go before we get into this segment right here. And this segment is called Freestyle, because I know you got bars. You don't come up in B-War, Chantel. You don't come from the Trinidad with the music that you guys have and can't spit from now. So freestyle is not about rhyming, even though I could drop a beat for y'all if y'all need, right? Freestyle is your opportunity. As I'm building this multi-billion-dollar international media conglomerate, I know that I'm not formally trained as a journalist. I don't always ask the right questions. The conversation doesn't always go where we want it to go. So freestyle is your opportunity to take 1 minute each and either reiterate something that you feel is important, or if we didn't get to talk about something that you feel is important, to go ahead and give it to the people. So this is freestyle right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Mwale and Chantel version. I don't know which one of y'all are going first, but one of y'all hit them with your best bars.
Well, thank you. We do have a rap, by the way. We'll have to put it out on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? and yes, I wrote the bars. But no, the truth is that, when we look at our lives, we want to be able to look back to say, what contribution did I make to the world? And when we understand that it's not about leaving a legacy, but living it, it gives us a sense of empowerment to know that although we are not at step 10, we can still help out someone who's at step 5, step 6, step 3, 2, 1, right? We don't have to be at this place where we've arrived and we've accomplished so much. Do it now, right? Some people wonder how we're able to do what we do and would have grown our business by 300%, even during a global pandemic. Why are we so committed to doing it now? Why not wait? Why not take our time? It's because we don't know how much time we have left, right? All we can be responsible for is the moves that we make right now. And so my encouragement to each of you is to ask yourself, what do I have in my hand that can be valuable to someone else? And I guarantee you, at the end of that question, the answer will be a dynamic, either product, service, or take your current position as a corporate exec, as a manager, to the next level. Because you'll move from that transaction-based type of lifestyle to that service-based lifestyle. And as you know, service to many always leads to greatness.
Love it, love it, love it.
My closing remarks will simply be this. I've learned in this journey of entrepreneurship that never allow shame to muffle your message. In fact, it's your greatest gift that you could give to those who you serve. I remember before being in this position of, being an executive running the Bestsellers Academy, having this beautiful wife as a partner and a friend, it wasn't always like this. There was a time I remember being homeless, sleeping on the streets. I remember what that journey was like. I remember it being so shameful for me, coming from a corporate experience, losing everything, and questioning myself that my significance was attached to all those labels that I had, being an executive, having money in the bank. And it's in that journey of discovery I realized that, it's your failures, your breakdown really is the material that builds character, one, and two, it's an admission that you are a student of the work. Yeah. So the things that you are avoiding talking about is going to be your greatest superpower, because you're not theorizing success. You've lived it. So I want to encourage you to revisit those breakdowns, revisit the places of shame, and take the challenge to no longer be in your story, but stand on your story, because that's the greatest gift you could give to humanity.
Boom! Drop the mic, ladies and gentlemen. Bars right here on the Cortez Hustle Show with Mwale and Chantel Henry. That is freestyle, ladies and gentlemen. I love what you guys are doing. I think it is so amazing. It's so dope. It is so needed. And I can tell that you guys do it well because you love to do it, right? And more people need to get to that place where I always talk about wealthy people find one or two ways to get paid for one or two things that they love to do. Then they build a brand and a system around it. I see that you guys have done that. And now you're serving the world with your superpower. So congrats to you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Do me a favor, tell everybody how they can connect with you if they have, like I have, listened to what you guys have to say and they realize that they have a story in them and they are ready to get it out and ready to stand on that story. And Mwale, how can I get in touch with you guys?
Well, before we do that, we want to say thank you to you, Cortez, for holding the space for so many hustlers, being able to stand in their story, to pursue their greatness, to find systems that, the struggle doesn't have to be hard, but there's a system of success. And as entrepreneurs, we know what that's like. So shout out to brothers like you who stand in the space, continue pressing on and keeping on. And I know you mightn't say it here, but I know there's been many times of tears, self-doubt, questions, but you've pushed past it. And we want to shout you out for holding the space for so many people, because you're creating a lot of hope and allowing people to continue turning the page to their next chapter. So thank you so much for having us as your guest.
And speaking of next chapter, if you certainly want to learn about this thing called your intellectual property and how you can really transition into being a best-selling author, up-leveling your speaking, I recommend that you go to our site, mybestchapter.com. Of course, put the 3 W's at the beginning, so www.mybestchapter.com, and we got a free gift for you waiting on the other side.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've been listening to and learning from Mwale and Chantel Henry, founders of the Bestsellers Academy, and all they want to do is see you win, no matter what. So be sure to hit them up, like, follow, connect with them in any way that you can, and get your story out to the masses. Somebody else's success is on pause because they need to hear your story to give them the courage and the motivation to take the same step themselves. So get with the Henrys and get your story told. So that's going to do it for us here on the Cortez Hustle Show. I appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Until next time, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up.
But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.